Good day, students. This is again your instructor for Understanding the Self, Kenneth Alvin Cinco. So, I would like to welcome you all to the new module, and that is Module 2. We will now be starting to unpack ourselves. And to try to unpack ourselves, we will start with our own physical self, the most or the immediate observable part of ourselves. So for this lesson, I would like to recognize the use of the discussions from the following textbooks. Okay? So, for the benefit of brevity, I will use codes in citing these three sources within this presentation. I would like to emphasize that for you also students, it is ethical to cite the discussions that you will be using in your presentations, even in your research papers. So, for this presentation, my discussions come from these three textbooks. For the Understanding the Self, published by Lorimar Publishing, written by Corpus Brenda et al. 2020, I used the code C2020. So if you see the code on the slide, on the center bottom, it means that I lifted that discussion from her. For Understanding the Self, Weissman's Book Trading Inc., which was written by Ancheta 2019, I used the code 82019. And for Understanding the Self, published in 2018 by Rex Bookstore, written by Alata and Company, I used the code A2018. So I would like to emphasize that the discussions, I took this also from these textbooks. Okay, for this lesson, we will try to look at a person's self-concept. So, as we have discussed in the psychological views, a person's self-concept is his unique understanding of who he is and what makes him unique. Now, this includes many selves or many parts of ourselves. The Module 2 will focus on unpacking these various aspects. As I told you, we are now unpacking the self, starting to unpack. We are now veering away from the views of philosophers, sociologists, and anthropologists, but we are trying now to apply also, using still the views of these academicians, but more on discovering the generalities of ourselves. For lesson 2.1, we will focus on the physicality. Our immediate self, the self that we immediately see, we touch, and we sense. These are the concrete and tangible part of ourselves. So, after the discussion, we will have explored the stages of physical development. We have explained the factors that impact growth and development. We also have elaborated on the theories. Ibig sabihin, naipaliwanag na natin ang mga teorya na nare-relate sa physical self. And we have discussed the relationships between body image, self-esteem, and taking care of our physical self. Okay, a question for you, students. Are you satisfied with how you look? Why or why not? So you can pause this video and ponder about it. And, have you ever cared for your physical being? In what way? You can follow up with this question. When we say, are we satisfied with how we look? How do we look? Do we look handsome to our own perceptions? How did we say that we are handsome to our own perceptions? So, kung sinabi natin tayo ay gwapo, tayo ay maganda, ano ba ito? Saan ba nagmula ang basis natin? Okay? So, have you ever cared about your physical being? Siguro, dahil sa palagi tayong nag-aaral, palagi tayong stress sa klase, at palagi tayong maraming iniisip, nakakaligtaan na natin ang ating physical self. Pero, ito yung tanong. Have you ever cared for your physical being? Naging conscious ka na ba kung ano yung suot mo, o yung shape ng katawan natin, o kung may pimples ba tayo, or what? So, in what way did you care for your physical being? Okay, let's start our discussion with the physical self. The body is a marvelous container, a complex and finely tuned machine with which one interfaces with his environment and fellow beings. Ibig sabihin, napakagandang sisidlan ng ating kalooban, ng ating self, ang katawan. Concrete. Ito'y nasa concrete dimension. Nakikita natin, tangible at directly observed. Ito din ang core ng human experience according to Freud. So para kay Freud, na nakilala din natin sa psychological self, yung body natin ang core ng human experience. Ito yung sentro ng lahat ng experience na meron tayo bilang tao. So, titingnan naman natin paano ba nagde-develop ang ating sarili. Paano ba nagde-develop ang ating physicality? Well, basically, alam natin yon. Mula pagkabata hanggang pagtanda, ganun mag-develop ang ating self. Pero, hindi natin namamalayan, within those stages na familiar tayo, merong mga stages na hindi tayo familiar. So, physical development is the physical growth from birth to adulthood and the development of both gross and fine motor skill. Ibig sabihin, paano tayo kumilos? Ito din ay tinitingnan sa physical self. Kung mas bata tayo or kung tayo'y napakabata pa natin, yung pagkilos natin hindi pa ganoon ka defined or refined, no? Pero nang tayo'y tumutubo hanggang adulthood, napapansin natin kapag syempre naman tayo ay physically active, nare-refine yung ating physical body movement. At kapag naman tayo ay tumatanda, bumabalik ang pagde-develop ng klase ng ating pag-move into something which, well, maybe resembles to a baby, right? Every person goes through a succession of developmental stages. Kaya, pinag-aaralan natin to in general kasi lahat tayo makaka-experience ng development. So, kung makikita natin sa PowerPoint, ito yung modified stages of development. According to scientists, psychologists, and growth researchers, ito yung mga common stages of our growth. We start with prenatal or pre-birth, nung nasa sinapupunan pa lang tayo ng ating mga nanay. Ito'y from conception to birth. Nang nabuo tayo sa tiyan hanggang sa tayo'y pinanganak, yan ay tinatawag na prenatal. Punta naman tayo sa infancy. Ito naman ay from birth to 3 years old. Ito yung tinatawag na infant. Kailangan ng aruga ng nanay, ng parents. Childhood. Ito ng 4 to 12 years. This is a formation of our being a child, no? We still need the guidance of our parents, but slowly towards 12 years, we start to veer away from the guidance of our parents and we start to stand for ourselves. We also have in childhood stages. So, the childhood is divided into 3. We have pre-childhood, which is 4 to 6 years, early childhood, which is 7 to 9 years, late childhood, which is 10 to 12 years. Our adolescence is marked from onset of puberty to the age of maturity. That is from 13 years old to 19 years old. Adulthood ngayon naman is from 20, so hindi na teens, to 55 years. And we have old age, which is the end of productivity. O yung hindi na tayo nakakapagtrabaho, hindi na tayo productive bilang isang tao, paupo-upo na lang kasi hindi na kaya ng katawan. Until death. That is old age. Growth and development varies but may have some generalities. Yun nga yung sinasabi ko. Nag-iiba-iba tayo pero general tayong may katawan, general tayong nag-undergo ng stages of development. So, kung infancy, toddlerhood, and childhood, yung physical development dito napaka-rapid, napakabilis. Yung motor development from reflexive reactions to advance. Yung ating paggamit o yung development ng ating motor skills, yung ating when we move, that is motor skills. Cognitive, paano tayo mag-isip? Thinking, it has a significant development in childhood. Sabi pa nga natin on our previous discussions, our childhood is fundamental in our growth as human beings, especially in the kind of thinking that we have as an adult. Napaka-sure tayo na ang impluensya ng childhood ay very significant. Psychological. Sa relationships, anong klaseng mga relationships meron tayo nung childhood? Napaka-importante din ito sa stages of development. Yung relationships ba natin ay traumatic or yung relationships natin ay napaka-nurturing? Itong mga psychological factors, importante din na na-experience sa childhood. And most importantly, psychosocial development. Napaka-importante ng isang bata ay magkaroon ng positive sense of self mula ng kanyang pagkabata. Hindi yung confused. Hindi niya alam, kulang sa guidance. Kasi kapag ganun, nagkakaroon ng malaking problema sa pagde-develop ng self ng bata. Okay, punta naman tayo sa adolescence. Sa adolescence, it develops independence from parents, or people develop independence from parents. Dito tayo nagsisimulang maging independent mula sa guidance ng ating mga parents. This is some would say that this is the rebellious period, right? Sa ating physical body, may mga klarong nangyayari sa development na makikita natin sa ating katawan. Unang-una, ito yung puberty hanggang maturation. So, sa puberty, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga processes ng ating katawan katulad ng adrenarche or adrenarche. Adrenal glands ay nade-develop, yung ating mga glands na nagsisecrete ng adrenaline hormones. Gonads, yung ating mga gonads or gonadarche or gonadarche. So, we have the sex glands. Ito yung nade-develop din. Menarche are para sa ating mga girls, yung menstruation na nagsisimula from 12 to 13 years. And spermarche, yung mga wet dreams ng mga lalaki. So, ito yung nagsisimula 13 to 14 years old. So, sa puberty, nakikita natin ang pagbabago ng katawan at ng mga development sa internal ng ating katawan. Lahat ng ito ay mga mula sa loob ng katawan ng binanggit natin. So, brain remains under development. Yung utak natin kapag adolescence, under development pa rin tayo. Kaya, masinsinan yung ating pag-aaral on this stage. Kasi kapag ikaw ay most of the people nag-aral ng medyo matanda na, medyo mahirap na ang pagre-retain ng information. Dito, under development, nag-aaral tayo, nagkakaroon tayo ng magandang pagre-receive ng information at learnings na ating nakukuha. Emotional emotional outbursts, ito din ay yung kapusukan ng ating damdamin bilang mga adolescents. Nasa stage tayo kung saan gusto nating i-carve o gusto nating kamtin yung ating identity, yung ating pagkakilanlan mula at kumawala din sa mga sa pagkahawak ng ating mga parents, no? So, from concrete to abstract thinking. Yung klase ng thinking meron tayo mula sa mga konkreto, mula sa mga nakikita natin, mula sa immediate natin na surroundings na ating pre-process on that level, concrete, nagiging abstract ito. Nagkakaroon tayo ng iba't ibang interpretations. Yung ating concrete na nakikita, in-interpret natin din sa ating sariling pag-iisip. So, dito nangyayari ito. Marami itong pangyayari. Kaya nga sabi ko, ang adolescence ay isang stage ng pagkatuto. Okay, punta naman tayo. Ano-ano ba yung nakaka-impluensya sa ating growth and development? Lalong-lalo na ng ating physical self. Ito yung factors. Unang-una, heredity. So, yung genes natin, napaka-importante. Genes play an important role in the transmission of physical and social characteristics. Kung kayo ay, you can still remember your biology class. You will not be like that. You will not be Kumbaga, hindi kayo magiging kamukha ng nanay at tatay nyo nang wala lang. Kayo talaga ay mayroong genes na mula sa nanay at tatay nyo na mula din sa kanilang lolo, lola. And they play an important role. So, yung mga physical characteristics ng mga lolo-lola mo o nanay-tatay mo, kung mataas ba siya o yung nanay mo hindi, merong impluensya yan sa pagtubo mo. Iba pa, intelligence, aptitudes, body structure, height, weight, lahat ng ito, heredity, isang malaking factor sa pagtutubo ng tao. Nutrition. Okay? The human body needs adequate supply of nutrients. Ano-ano ba yung mga kinakain mo bawat araw? Yung pagkain natin, isa sa mga importanteng impluensya ng katawan na ito ay tumubo ng matiwasay. Carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. Lahat ba ito na kailangan ng katawan, kinakain mo? As a student, sige nga, bibigyan ko kayo ng panahon mag-reflect. Do you cover all the nutrients that you need for the day? Lahat yung kinakain mo ba, balance eh? Yung tinatawag nating go, grow, and glow. Is it balanced yung ating mga kinakain? Kung hindi, naku, may factor din yan sa growth and development. Kung hindi balance yung diet natin, hindi tayo kumakain ng pampago, yung pampaaktibo, yung pagpapatuloy ng pagtubo natin, katulad ng mga proteins sa grow, o yung glow, yung pag-aayos ng ating well-being, yung pagbabalanse ng ating lakas at ng ating kagandahan at ng pagraradiate ng magandang aura at ng health natin. Yung glow foods. Dapat meron tayo nito bawat meal. Ideally. Kasi nakaka-apekto ito sa ating growth and development. Kapag hindi balance yung diet natin, maaaring ma-impede o maaaring ma-impluensyahan ng negatibong impluensya ang ating growth. Pangatlo ay environment. Anong klase ba ang merong environment natin? In our homes, do we have hygienic surroundings? So, hygienic surroundings help in the proper development of the body. Yung kalinisan ng ating environment. Sometimes, pollution causes stress, right? Sometimes, garbage causes stress. Yung mga kalat-kalat nakakapawala ng ating peace of mind. Pollution affects the organs. This is scientific. Indoor pollution, meron na ngayong tinatawag na indoor pollution. Kasi yung pollution sa labas, hindi na lang yan nag-stay sa labas ng home. Pumapasok na din yan. At minsan, yung indoor pollution, ito din ay kaparte ng relationships mo sa bahay. Okay? So, titingnan natin. Tingnan nyo yung environment nyo. Those things impact your health also. Water pollution, yung iniinom nating tubig, yung pinapaligo natin. Sound pollution, ito pa. Napakarami ngayong nag-headset. At kahit saan nakikita natin, may mga noise, no? So scientists have told us there is now what you call sound pollution. Napakaraming sound na hindi na nakaka-process, yung hindi na receive ng maayos yung ating mga ears. And our hearing is important to our health. Do you know that our hearing is integral to our balance? Yes, it is very important in how we walk, how we move. So, just mind that if you are experiencing sound pollution in a daily basis, at napakaraming beses kang nakaka-experience ng sound pollution, napakatindi ng factor na yan sa growth at health mo. Meron din tayong mind pollution. Yung palagi ang pag-scroll. Yung dopamine addiction. Yung pag-scroll nyo, nakakasira yan. Yan sa neuroplasticity natin. Yung tinatawag na proseso ng pag-learn. Minsan kasi, kapag palagi tayong nag-scroll, nag-excrete ng hormones yung ating brain ng pleasure hormones or craving hormones. Yung parang may nagsasabi sa iyo, sige pa, mag-scroll ka pa ng ganyan. Hormones yan. Kapag palagi yung naka-on, hindi mo yan tinuturn off, naku, mind pollution na yan. Yung maraming impormasyon na hindi mo na process, hindi mo na integrate, maraming sasabay-sabay, mind pollution din yan. Napakadelikado yan, no? So, environment isa ito sa importanteng factor na nakaka-impluwensya sa growth at development ng isang tao. Ano pa? Socio-economic realities. Ano bang socio-economic realities? Paano ba nabubuhay ang isang tao in terms sa mga resources niya, no? So different socio-economic levels reflect difference in body sizes. Siyempre naman, kapag ikaw ay mas poor, well, natranslate yan sa klase ng body ka. Sometimes, nako-correlate ng mga siyentista at mga doktor na kapag nasa lower socio-economic level ka, ibig sabihin, yung hanap buhay natin ay hindi sapat, no? Ito'y nako-correlate sa hindi magandang pagtubo. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na yung body size lang, yung internal ng katawan, yung health ng katawan, no? Kasi merong malaki pero hindi healthy. Right? So, nakaka-reflect yung socio-economic level, yung klase ng hanap buhay o ilan yung kita mo sa bawat araw. So, reasons. Bakit ito? Access to better nutrition. Kapag ikaw ay medyo mayaman o may kaya, meron kang access. Kaya mong magkaroon ng mas magandang nutrition kasi nabibili mo. Right? Meron kang access also to better facilities. Yung kayang maka-afford dyan ng private hospital. Kasi mas mataas yung socio-economic level niya. Yung regular meals na 3 meals kada araw at balanced diet, kapag ikaw ay socio-economically in standing, kaya mo ito. At saka kaya mong i-furnish yung home conditions mo. Okay? Kapag ikaw ay nasa taas. Pero kung nasa baba ka ng socio-economic realities, ibig sabihin, yung hanap buhay mo hindi nakakapantay doon sa dapat sana na level ng resources na meron ka or pera na meron ka, naku, may negatibong impluwensya din yan, no? So, home conditions, ito yung sinasabi ko, yung indoor. Home conditions reflect intelligence and personality of parents. Ito pa, para sa mga batang tumutubo, yung home conditions napaka-importante din. Para sa mga batang tumutubo, lalong-lalo na kapag yung parents nila ay magaling mag-parenting. Siyempre, kapag maganda ang parenting, magandang magdala, magandang bumuo ng mga relationships, maganda din ang tubo ng bata. At nagre-reflect din ito kung anong klaseng parent meron ang batang yon. Yung intelligence na ito, nare-reflect sa kung ano yung klase ng batang tumubo. Kung mapapansin nyo yan sa mga elementary, sa mga high school, kung anong klaseng bata yung tumubo, minsan, most of the time, nagre-reflect ito kung anong klaseng parents meron. At yung nire-reflect na klase ng parents, usually, mga intelligent parents. Kasi alam nilang magpatubo ng magandang magpatubo ng bata. Isa pa, na factor ng growth and development, yung health habits. Hindi lang ito food, ano pa yung mga health habits na meron tayo? Cleanliness in the body helps keep diseases and illnesses minimized. Anong mga klase bang ginagawa yung mga ways to clean your body? Anong bang mga parte ng body ang finufokusan nyo na i-clean? Regular ba yung cleaning? All of this can help or can influence how diseases come into you, or anong klaseng mga illness ang pwedeng maka-apekto sa iyo. Exercises makes the body continue to function effectively. Napaka-importante ng exercise. Alam naman natin yan. Kung hindi tayo gumagalaw, naturally, the human beings are supposed to move. Okay? Kung hindi tayo gumagalaw, parang makina din ang katawan, no? nagrarest. So, kailangan palaging merong regular exercise. Ito pa, sleep and rest are crucial to cognitive operations. Kayong mga nag-study palagi, ugaliin yung magkaroon ng mga nap time. Wag naman sa klase, no? Pero ugaliin natin magkaroon ng mga nap time within the day. Kasi, studies have shown that there is a significant connection of sleep and our cognitive operations. Ano ba yung cognitive operations? Yung papaano or yung bilis ng ating thinking. Yung husay ng ating thinking. No, minsan kasi nagtithink tayo, no, yung operation ng ating thinking. Yes, nag-iisip tayo pero kinakapos, right? Pero sabi ng mga scientists, itong pangangapos na ito, pwede itong maremedyohan kapag meron kang quality sleep. Yung tinatawag na quality sleep. Oras dapat tama and tawag nito, klase ng sleep dapat tama din. No? So, sleep and rest are crucial to cognitive operations. So, kung ikaw ay tumutubo in the process of development tapos nakaka-experience ka ng hindi magandang, klase ng sleep and shorter, ito'y sunod-sunod na shorter sleep, naku, napaka hirap niyan kasi malaki ang impluwensya nan sa atin. Recreation also. Of course, sabi nga, 'di ba, the boy kapag hindi naglalaro si Juan, nako, iba yung epekto. So, recreation keeps the person reorganize oneself through engaging interest. Siyempre, napaka-importante naman na huminga tayo sa buhay. Okay? So, recreation also is important as a health habit. Kultura din, nakaka-impluwensya sa ating development. Kasi, differences in our groups or in ethnic groups reflect differences in practices and way of life. Minsan, hindi natin namamalayan yung kultura natin unhealthy. Right? Unhealthy para sa well-being natin, unhealthy para sa ating physical self. May kultura ng manginginom dyan, no? Inom ng inom, kasi kultura kasi ng mabarkada kultura ng makipalakaibigan, di ba? Yan ang Pinoy So, inom ng inom kasi yung inom, yung symbolic ng pagkakaibigan. So, hindi natin namamalayan yung kulturang ito, napaka-harmful na pala. Or meron ding mga kultura, kagaya nung ibang mga European cultures, no? Like, example, in Finland, they were marked or they were studied that they had this happiness index, no? They were happy. But, yung happiness dito, medyo inclining towards meaningfulness ng kanilang mga buhay, sabi nung study, no? So, yung iba-ibang kultura, nakaka-impluwensya din. So, kung paano tayo tumubo, nagiging negatibo bang epekto or nagiging positibo bang epekto sa ating buhay. Racial factors din, such as height, weight, color, features affect body constitutions. Yung mga iba-ibang race, kung black ka, kung white ka, tayo tawag sa atin Asian, di ba? Yung mga white tawag Caucasian, at saka you have then the well, in terms of race, they're called the black people, no? Ito ay nakaka-apekto din kung paano tayo mag-growth. At alam nyo ba na minsan yung race ay nagdetermine din ng mga klase ng sakit meron. Yes, nagdetermine ng mga klase ng sakit meron ang tao. Kapag ikaw ay parte ng isang race, minsan may mga sakit na unique sa inyong race. Minsan din may mga sakit na hindi nakaka-apekto sa inyong race. So, kasi parte tayo, hindi natin maiwasan na maging parte ng isang kultura, o ng maraming kultura. Yung culture can also influence our growth. This one, the level of love. Napaka-importante. The level of love, it is a way out of developing criminal tendencies. Let's say for example, yung mga parents na dyan, kung parents na kayo, no? Yung level of love na ipinapakita nyo sa mga bata nyo, sa mga baby nyo. Or, i-translate naman natin dun sa mga students natin na nakaka-experience din ng love mula sa kanilang mga parents. Yung level of love is a way out of developing criminal tendencies. Alam nyo ba na napakalaking factor ng pagmamahal ng mga parents ang development kasi yung mga batang pinakitaan ng pagmamahal at ng pag-aaruga o ng pag-value naman lang, pagpapahalaga ng kanilang mga parents, merong tendency to veer away from or go away or stay away from criminal tendencies. Merong mga studies na ganyan. So, children who feel more secure tend to be confident in themselves. They have better self-esteem, higher self-worth. Siyempre, makikita naman natin yan. Kapag ang bata ay more secure, they tend to be hindi shy. No? Kapag pinagawa ng something, they would really do what they are told to do. Kasi, bakit? Pinapahalagahan sila. Alam nilang pinahalagahan sila. And this is also one of the important things. Communication. That you are being loved. Kahit anong klase ng communication, mapa-verbal or mapa-non-verbal kind of communication, kapag ito ay pinapakita mo sa bata, napakalaki ng impluwensyan nito sa pagde-develop ng bata. Ngayon, punta naman tayo sa ilang mga theories. Ito ay mga teoryang nagpapaliwanag o nag-a-attempt na magpaliwanag na ang ating physicality daw, yung klase ng ating physicality, merong relasyon sa ating personality. Okay, so these are the theories that are related to the physical self. So, number 1 is physiognomy. Okay? So, this is the practice of assessing a person's character from his outer appearance, especially the face. So, nung unang panahon at ngayon, meron pa ding nagbi-believe ng physiognomy, no? Sabi nila, makikita natin kung anong klaseng tao, no? Madi-describe natin, mailalarawan natin kung anong klaseng tao ang isang tao sa pamamagitan lamang ng pagtingin sa kanyang muka. We can also refer to the general physiognomy also refers to the general appearance of a person, object, or terrain. So, yung mga physiognomies, they can also study a terrain, study a person, and then say something about it, no? Na ang landscape na ganito ay hindi maayos, hindi tutubuan ng maayos ng mga flowers, o ang person na ito ay napakasungit, or ang person na ito ay very intelligent in one look pa lang ng face. There are also notions about the relationship between a person's outward appearance and inner character throughout time. Ito na yung sinasabi ko. Yung mga physiognomist, ito yung mga ini-explain nila o yung mga pinapaliwanag nila na ang tao daw, well, yung character daw ng tao, merong nare-reflect ito sa face, no? Kagaya ng mga Chinese, no? A person's life daw should be lived in alignment with his natural flow. So, yung natural na daloy ng buhay, dapat sinusunod ng tao. Huh? So, according to Lavater with Brown and Deporta, the possibility of discernment of inner qualities from the outer appearance of the face. Ito yung study of physiognomy. Ano? So, pwede daw or there is a possibility na ma-discern natin yung inner qualities, yung characteristic nga ng isang tao according lang sa appearance ng face. Pero, maraming nagsasabi na physiognomy is a pseudoscience o yung science na hindi mo talaga mapagkakatiwalaan kasi medyo questionable yung mga methodologies. Minsan hindi nagtutugma, minsan hindi talaga ini-explain ng buo kung bakit nagganito, nagkaganyan. So, physiognomy is lurking between those areas. So, kagaya nito, yung nakikita natin sa image na ito, yung mga Chinese, meron silang calligraphies eh. So, yung mga calligraphic characters ng Chinese, they equate them to the shape of the face. At kapag daw ganito yung shape ng face, let's say for example, sinasabing wealth. By the way, disclaimer lang, hindi, ito yung example lang, hindi ito talaga yung meaning ng mga nandyan sa picture. So, example, no? Yung character ng wealth, isang character na yung ibig sabihin ay wealth. at may shape yung character na yon. Kapag yung character na yon ay yung shape ng face mo, sabi ng mga Chinese or ng ancient Chinese, um, meron kang ano, meron kang personality that could help you be wealthy. So, isa yun sa mga examples ng physiognomy. Okay. Meron din tayong tinatawag na morphopsychology. So, isa sa mga practitioners nito ay si Lewis Corman, and sabi niya, the workings of vital forces within the human body resulted in different facial shapes and body forms. So, bakit ba nagkagayon ang ating mga facial forms at bakit ba ganito ang ating mga katawan? So, sabi niya, yung inner workings ng ating body ay nagpapabago ng ating mga facial forms, no? At ng shape ng ating katawan. So, isa sa mga ideas ng morphopsychology ay yung pag-equate, no? O yung pagbibigay ng explanation, pagpapaliwanag, no? Na ang isang tao, kapag may shape siyang ganito sa kanyang katawan, meron siyang ganitong tendencies. So, according to William Herbert Sheldon, siya yung una ng mga terms na ito. Develop, no, these terms, somatotype and constitutional psychology. Ibig sabihin ng constitutional psychology, yung psychology ng isang tao in terms of sa constitution ng kanyang katawan, no? At somatotype means kung ano yung tipo ng body mo, yung soma mo, it would describe something about yourself. So, there is a correlation of the body types and behavior. Okay. Kagaya ng behavior, intelligence, and social hierarchy. So, may tatlo daw na type. We have endomorphs, rounded and soft, which is, kung ganito yung klase ng katawan mo, endomorph ka, relax ka, extroverted ka, or tinatawag na viscerotonic body. And we also have mesomorphs, square, muscular. Kung ganito yung katawan mo, you're active, you're dynamic, you're assertive. That's what you call somotonic body. And you also have ectomorphs. Kung you are thin, fine-bonded, you are supposed to be introvert, thoughtful, inhibited, sensitive. So, kung nakikita natin dito sa larawan sa may kanan, so, endomorph, mesomorph yung nasa gitna, at yung ectomorph yung dito na nasa kilid, nasa pinaka kilid na, no? So, these ectomorphs bodies daw, sabi ng somatotype ni Sheldon, no? Introverts. They're thoughtful, they're inhibited, they're sensitive kapag ikaw ay isang ectomorph. So, ito yung isa sa mga klase ng somatotypes, no? So, meron tayong extreme endomorph, yung medyo wide hips, narrow shoulders, maraming fat sa katawan, sa upper arms, sa thighs, quite slim sa wrist and ankles. So, kapag ganyan daw, may katumbas ka, no, na personality. You also have the mesomorphs. You're mesomorph, you have broad shoulders and narrow hips, a large head, a muscular body, at saka napakalakas na mga forearms and thighs, no? Nasa mesomorph ka. If you're now an ectomorph, ganito yung description. Narrow shoulders and hips, a thin face and a high forehead, mataas na forehead, no? A thin, narrow chest and abdomen, thin legs and arms, very little muscle or body fat. So, sabi ng mga nag-aaral ng somatotype at constitutional psychology, kung ano man yung klase ng body mo, meron yang bearing sa iyong behavior. So, isang teorya yan ng physical self. Meron ding teorya yung mga ancient Greeks, no? Ito din yung ang kanilang explanation, bawat tao daw may tinatawag na fluid or humor, no? At ang bawat humor ay nagpapakita din ng personality ng tao. Kung anong lumalabas mula na humor mula sa iyo, nagpapakita ito ng personalidad mo. Okay. So, isa na doon ay the sanguine, Another one is choleric, we have the melancholic, we have the phlegmatic. So ancient Greeks believed that the bodily fluids affect a person's personality. Kapag sanguine, you have red bile o red humor, no? Itong bile na ito, this is excreted from, scientifically, bile is excreted from your gallbladder. So pag red daw yung bile mo, you are enthusiastic, active, social, outgoing, charismatic. Kapag naman choleric or yellow yung bile na naproproduce mo, you are independent, decisive, magaling magdesisyon, goal-oriented, in charge, ambitious, logical, so leader, no? Particularly. Kapag naman melancholic or black bile yung naproproduce mo, analytical kang tao, detail-oriented, deep thinker, introverted, anxious, reserved. So, medyo isolated na klase ng tao. Phlegmatic naman, relax, no? Peaceful, quiet, easygoing, sympathetic to others, good at generalizing ideas, making comparisons. So, ganung klaseng tao ka daw. So, according to ancient Greeks, kung ano yung fluid mo, kung ano yung humor mo, nakaka-apekto yan sa iyong personality. Okay. So, sa lahat ng mga theories na yun, just bear in mind, no, na they are attempts to explain how our physical selves affect ourselves, our sense of self, and our behavior. Punta naman tayo sa body image and self-esteem. Ano kaya ang relasyon ng pagtingin natin sa ating sarili o yung self-concept natin? Siyempre, of course, yung self-concept natin sa ating body image, sa paglalarawan at sa sarili nating paglalarawan ng ating mga katawan, at ang relasyon nun sa ating self-esteem. Okay? So, body image is both the mental picture a person has of his own body and how he sees himself when he looks in the mirror. Self-esteem naman is how one values and respects oneself as a person. Affects how a person takes care of oneself, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So, perception ng self-esteem, no? How one values and respect oneself. So, pinapahalagahan ba natin ang ating sarili? Gaano ba natin pinapahalagahan ito? Ito yung self-esteem. Okay, having a healthy body image means recognizing the qualities and strengths that make the person feel good about oneself. So, kung meron tayong healthy body image, yung pagtingin natin sa ating body image ay hindi naman ganun ka nagpapababa sa ating mga sarili, meron itong healthy na effect. Okay. When one feels good about oneself, one naturally carries oneself with confidence and self-acceptance. Kung maganda yung tingin mo sa sarili mo, well, kahit ano pang mga pangit ang dumaan sa harapan mo, maganda ka pa rin. So, sunod, despite the strong association of self-esteem and body image, a decline in one's body image does not necessarily produce a corresponding change in self-esteem. Pero hindi naman ibig sabihin na kapag nag-decline na ang body image o yung ating katawan, medyo pumangit na, hindi naman necessarily na yung self-esteem natin ay automatically nagiging negative na. Nagkakaroon tayo ng mga problema na sa ating motibasyon. May mga taong ganun, pero meron karamihan ng tao hindi naman tumitingin sa kung ano ba yung body image nila. Titingnan pa ba nila, busy tayo sa buhay natin, di ba? Now, some tips lang, no, to boost the body image. Sabi ni ito'y kinuha mula kay Jesse's Legacy. So, number 1, accept your body. Walang ibang magmamahal sa katawan mo kundi ikaw, no? Kapag yan ay nasira na, kahit yung lover mo, hindi na yan titingin sa iyo. So, accept your body. Nobody is perfect. So, don't body shame yourself. But, ito, yung but, build a better habit. So, hindi naman sinasabi na accept your body, accept mo na lang na unhealthy yung habits natin. No? Kapag mataba ka, accept your body. No, kasi, your body, if you produce that much fat, and then you know it's already unhealthy, you're not building a better habit. So, you have to get to know your body. It's not that you're just accept it. It's also building a better habit in taking care of your body. So, like your body, gustuhin mo yung katawan mo. At kapag ang katawan mo ay gusto mo, syempre, you will work towards a good body. Find things that you like about your looks. no? Kapag may pimples ka, sabihin mo na lang then na ay maganda naman yung smile ko, di ba? So find things that you like about your looks. Focus on what your body can do. Minsan may mga taong hindi naman kayang mag-planking, no, ng 50 seconds, pero ikaw hindi ka naman kagwapuhan pero 2 minutes or 5 minutes yung planking mo. Naku, napaka laking kaibahan na ng ability mo kaysa sa ability ng iba. Number 3, be aware of your body. Okay? So be aware of your body. Wag nating pabayaan yung mga katawan natin. Take care of your body by eating healthy foods, getting good sleep, and keep a healthy weight. Yun na yung sinasabi ko. Kahit sabi natin mag-accept tayo, i-accept natin yung katawan natin, keep still a healthy weight. Kasi ang weight ang isa sa mga indicators kung healthy pa ba yung katawan natin o hindi na. So, dito tayo sa beauty. Kasi we're talking about the physical self, we're going into beauty. Na-discuss pa lang natin ang body image at self-esteem, 'di ba? Merong relasyon ang self-esteem at body image. Kung maganda ang body image natin, pwede itong magpa-boost ng ating self-esteem. Pero hindi naman technically sinasabing kapag mababa yung body image natin o hindi ganoon kagandahan, automatically nakapagpababa na naman ito ng self-esteem natin. Ngayon, titingnan naman natin ang importance ng beauty. Ano na bang mga sinabi ng mga sikat na tao about beauty? Number 1, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Ito yung English proverb. Para sa inyo, ano ang ibig sabihin nito? So, beauty in the eye of the beholder, hindi naman natural sa isang tao na maging beautiful siya para sa lahat. May mga tao talagang, may ibang tao na yung pagtingin sa'yo, kahit ikaw pa yung Miss Universe, ang pangit mo. Diba? So, minsan, ganun no. Meron naman, ikaw yung siguro, pinaka-average sa lahat ng average-looking persons. Pero may isang tao pa rin dyan, pag tumingin sa'yo, naku, ikaw yung pinakamagandang tao sa balat ng moon. Diba? So, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Ibig sabihin, pagtingin lang ito, no? At huwag kang masyadong mag-isip kung paano ka tinitingnan kasi sila ng problema nila yun. Okay, everything has beauty but not everyone can see it, sabi ni Confucius. Yun nga, connected din, no? Everything has beauty but not everyone can see it. Hindi naman sa lahat ng panahon nakita natin agad na maganda pala yung classmate mo nung first year high school, no, or nung minsan nare-realize mo yan after na, no? Bakit? Kasi everything has beauty. Yung problema lang, paano natin ito hahanapin? Kung naghahanap tayo ng superficial beauty, nako, matatagalan tayo. Pero kung naghahanap tayo ng totoong kagandahan, minsan nagtatago lang yan sa pinaka pangit na mga bagay. Sentimentality, all of those things can be beautiful. Beauty is the quality of being youthful according to the ancient Greeks. So, yung mga konseptong ito ay the concept of beauty for the Greeks is equated to youth. Kapag ikaw ay mas bata, may beauty tayo. Beauty cannot be fully defined according to Plato. So, ito ay isa sa mga misteryo ng beauty, no? Hindi naman palagi na ang beauty ay nasa physical image. So, kung mapapansin mo sa mga diniscuss natin sa mga bullet points na ito, beauty cannot be fully defined through the senses. Pwede lang tayong magsambit, beautiful siya, napakaganda niya. Pero yung ganda, yung totoong ganda, hindi ito na-experience ng lahat ng senses mo. Kapag na-experience to ng lahat ng senses mo at masabi mong, wow, nako, overhead yung beauty na yan. Isa lang yung pinaka maganda sa lahat, yung Diyos. No? Na-experience lahat ng senses. Yun nga, mysterious pa nga, hindi natin na-define. Okay. So, ngayon, sa modernong panahon, marami ng ideas natin sa beauty. So, kung napansin natin yung mga pinagsasabi natin on the previous slides, maraming idea din sa beauty. Pero sa modern times, meron din tayong mga ideas ng beauty na in-expand na. Pero, ito yung isa sa pinaka nakaka-impluwensya. Yung pagtingin ng media. Nakaka-affect sa perspektiba natin sa beauty, no? Advertisements, brainwashes. 'Di ba? Shampoo dapat palaging naka-rebound yan, pero in reality hindi naman nangyayari, 'di ba? Yung mga model ng shampoo parang palaging naka-rebound, nag-shampoo lang daw, parang naka-rebound na. Oh my god. Ganun ba 'yon? Meron ding sa mga lalaki, no? Yung Master Facial Cleanser, sikreto ng mga gwapo. Wow. Pero yung gumagamit, 10 years nang gumagamit, hindi pa naman na-appreciate ng crush niya. 'Di ba? So reinforcing certain stereotypes of beauty, yung media palaging nagre-reinforce ng mga stereotypes ng beauty. 'Di ba? Discuss natin, isa sa pinaka malalakas na impluwensya sa tao, social institutions sa yung media. But beauty is not in the face, sabi ni Khalil Gibran, yung isa sa pinakasikat na mga poets. Basahin niyo siya, napakaganda ng mga linyahan niya. Beauty is the light in the heart, sabi niya. Kagaya din nung mga sinabi ni na Confucius, no, at ni na Plato. So, meron tayong tinatawag na internal and external beauty. To be beautiful internally means to have a kind and understanding heart. To be beautiful externally means to have a healthy body and attractive smile. So, dalawang klase ng beauty, internal and external beauty. Ngayon, meron tayong tinatawag na cycle of beauty. So, dito natin tinitingnan kung paano ba nakaka-impact yung beauty sa mga buhay natin. Number 1, beauty builds confidence. Siyempre, kapag ikaw beautiful, meron kang right maging confident, and confidence amplifies beauty. Ito ang technical, no? Hindi palaging beautiful tayo, diretso na tayong confident. Minsan may mga beautiful people, they're not confident. Pero minsan meron ding mga confident people, they look beautiful. So may pag-asa tayong mga medyo beautiful lang, right? Let's just look confident and we'll become beautiful people, no? So beauty is a manifestation of love in form. So isa sa mga manifestasyon ng pag-ibig, no? Ang beauty. Bakit? Paano? Kasi syempre, in simple terms, no, kapag ikaw ay umiibig, pinapakita mo ang kagandahan mo internally and externally, at vulnerable ka sa iyong minamahal, right? Ngayon, tingnan naman natin anong epekto o anong dynamics ng beauty at ng society. So, beauty is an admired and sought after traits. Sa ating lipunan ngayon, napakahalaga kapag ikaw ay maganda, right? Bakit kaya? Bakit napakahalaga na ang isang tao ay maganda? Paano ito nakakatulong sa kanyang kalagayan sa lipunan? Sige nga. Well, to continue discussing, no, beauty opens doors. So, the reality of it fading may also close doors. So, ang kagandahan, pwedeng magbukas ng mga oportunidad. Tingnan mo, di ba? Yung mga model na di-discover, ibig sabihin, nagbubukas yung mga doors sa kanila, mga oportunidad. So, pero, kapag naman nawawala ng beauty, maraming nagsasarang oportunidad. Sa mga relationships, beauty sometimes are in personality, intelligence, and humor. Diba? May mga artistang ang hanap naman ay humor. Diba? Intelligence, wit, yung kagalingan makipag-usap. Right? So, yun. Yung beauty and society, napaka-importanting dynamics, no? Kasi, bakit natin dinidiscuss yung kagandahan or yung beauty? Hindi lamang ito nakaka-apekto sa ating sarili, sa ating self-esteem, kundi nakaka-apekto din ito kung paano natin ina-navigate yung lipunan natin. Kasi minsan yung beauty nagiging beneficial sa iyo, o minsan din nagiging disadvantageous sa iyo. So ito lang, no, alagaan natin yung ating physical self. Tingnan natin kung beautiful ba tayo sa ating paningin. 'Di ba? Na-discuss na natin sa sociologist and anthropologist, the looking glass. Para kay Cooley, anong pinaka-importante? Paano tayo mag-respond, no, sa mga na-receive nating mga perceptions. Okay? So, yun yung physical self. So, in summary, we discussed what is the body in the physical self. We elaborated on the stages of physical development. We explained the factors that impact physical development. We dived into certain theories related to the body and personality. We also explored the relationship between body image and self-esteem. And more importantly, ano ba yung importansya ng beauty sa ating buhay? Sana marami tayong natutunan for this session, and I hope this will help you in your journey into discovering your body, into taking care of your body a little better. Thank you.